Hey everyone. You know those times when you just need a little extra push to keep going? Well, today we're diving into a source that's all about that motivation.
Sounds like we could all use a dose of that.
Absolutely. We're looking at this article. It's called 22 Best Motivational Podcasts to Listen to Right Now.
Okay, so like a personal trainer, but for our ears.
Exactly. But instead of muscles, we're working on our minds. And get this, it's not just, the typical self-improvement stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, it's got podcasts based on science, personal stories, even some that debunk like common myths about success and all of that.
sounds like a good mix.
It is. It's like a tasting menu for your ears. So we'll give you a taste of each one, and then you can decide which ones you want to like add to your own
I
playlist.
like that. A buffet of motivation.
Exactly. Okay, let's start with personal growth. Two totally different approaches here. The science of success and the school of greatness.
Okay, those sound interesting. Tell me more.
So, The Science of Success with Matt Bodnar, it's all about using science to actually achieve your goals.
Interesting. So not just like feel-good advice.
No, it's like understanding the psychology behind success. Like he talks about this thing called loss aversion, which basically means we like hate losing more than we love winning, which, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. How does that tie into success, though?
Well, he explains how knowing that helps you make smarter decisions, like financial decisions and stuff. And get this, he even had an FBI hostage negotiator on the show.
Whoa, what? An FBI hostage negotiator? What were they talking about?
I know, right? It's not what you'd expect. They talked about how to stay calm under pressure and like negotiate effectively in any situation.
Hmm. I never thought of applying hostage negotiation skills to everyday life.
Right. That's what I love about this list. It's full of surprises. Now, the School of Greatness with Lewis Howes is more about learning from other people's experiences.
So more like mentorship and stories.
Yeah, he interviews all sorts of inspiring people, shares his own journey too, covers topics like facing tough times, chasing your dreams, even attracting wealth.
Sounds like a good one for anyone feeling a bit lost or stuck.
Totally. It's like a pep talk and a roadmap for success, all in one. Okay, ready to shift gears a bit. Let's talk about health.
Health. I love sneaking in some learning while I'm like on a walk or doing chores.
Me too. This list has some great options for that. We've got TED Talks Health, Optimal Health Daily, and the maintenance phase.
Okay, I've heard of TED Talks, but what about the others?
So TED Talks Health is, well, it's TED Talks, but focused on health. They have experts talking about all sorts of stuff, from sleep and vaping to, get this.
Bad breath.
Seriously. Yeah, I know, it's random, but hey, you never know what might come in handy, right?
Hmm.
And it just shows how health isn't just about one thing. It's about everything that contributes to our well-being.
True, true. I can see myself listening to that one. What about Optimal Health Daily?
That one is perfect if you're short on time. Episodes are usually under 15 minutes, and they cover so many interesting topics like dieting, pesticides, activated charcoal, all kinds of things. They even give you a specific tip each episode to apply to your own life.
Ooh, actionable advice. I like that.
Yeah,
And the maintenance phase. That sounds intriguing.
this one is for the skeptics out there. Hosts, Michael Hobbs and Aubrey Gordon, they basically debunk all the junk science in the wellness industry.
Ooh, I'm always wary of fads and trends. What kind of things do they cover?
Oh, they've done some great episodes on fad diets, obesity, all that stuff. Really makes you think twice about what you hear.
That sounds really important, actually. It's so easy to get caught up in the latest trends without, questioning them.
Right. They make you think critically about the information you're consuming. Okay, now for something we all want more of. Happiness.
Oh, yes. Always up for some happiness tips.
This list has some great podcasts for that. The Happier Podcast, The Good Life Project, and The Happiness Lab.
Okay, those all sound promising. What are their different approaches?
Well, the Happier Podcast, hosted by Gretchen Rubin, it's all about the power of habits. She believes that small changes in our routines can actually have a big impact on our happiness.
Interesting. So, like, what kind of habits?
She talks about things like making your bed every morning or doing the 1-minute rule.
The 1-minute rule? What's that?
Oh, it's where you commit to doing any task that takes less than a minute, like putting your shoes away, wiping down the counter, stuff like that.
Ah, I see. So little things to reduce clutter and stress.
Exactly. Small changes, big impact. Now, the Good Life Project with Jonathan Fields, it's more about finding meaning and purpose.
Okay, so more like the bigger picture.
Yeah, he has these really deep conversations with guests, some famous, some everyday people, about how they define the good life. It's inspiring stuff.
It sounds like it. What about the Happiness Lab?
That one is hosted by Dr. Laurie Santos, a professor at Yale, And get this, it's based on her super popular Yale course. In fact, it was the most popular course in the school's history.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh.
So it's got to be good, right?
Right. And it's not just like fluffy stuff, it's based on science and research. She covers things like burnout, languishing, all these things that are so relevant today. And she gives practical tips for like cultivating more joy in everyday life.
Sounds like just what we need in these times.
Totally. All right, ready to get moving. We've got 2 podcasts that will help you tackle those fitness goals, Ollie on the Run and Hurdle.
All right, bring on the fitness motivation.
So Ollie on the Run, perfect for those who, love running. But it's not just about logging miles. Host Ollie Feller is super open about her own journey, the mental and emotional aspects of running too.
I like that. It's not just about the physical.
Exactly. She talks about training, injury prevention, finding the motivation to keep going even when you want to quit. She also interviews other runners, from like elite athletes to everyday people, which is really inspiring.
Nice. A good mix of perspectives. What about hurdle?
Hurdle, hosted by Emily Abate, she interviews people who use fitness to overcome challenges in their lives. Like we all face hurdles, right?
Definitely. Life throws a lot our way.
Yeah, and she talks about how movement can help us build that strength, physically and mentally, to face those hurdles. And she keeps it real, shares her own struggles and triumphs.
It's always encouraging to hear that. Even the experts have their own hurdles.
Exactly. Okay, so this next category might seem a little out of left field. But, even the most motivated people sometimes struggle with keeping things tidy.
Oh, tell me about it. My house is a constant work in progress.
Right. So I've got 2 podcasts, totally different approaches to home cleanliness and organization. A Slob Comes Clean and Clutter-Free Academy.
Okay, those sound interesting. What makes them different?
A Slob Comes Clean, hosted by Dana K. White. It's all about finding practical solutions for messy people. She's super relatable and funny. She gives tons of tips for decluttering, organizing, and creating systems that make cleaning easier.
So like embracing the mess and finding ways to manage it.
Yeah, exactly. She's all about progress, not perfection. And then you have Clutter-Free Academy with Kathy Lipp. She takes a more holistic approach. It's not just about tidying up your house, but about decluttering your whole life.
Okay, so like a minimalist approach.
Kind of. She
Yeah.
talks about letting go of things that no longer serve you, both physically and mentally, to create space for what truly matters.
I can definitely see the appeal in that. It can be so freeing to let go of stuff.
Right. All right. Ready for a topic that's always a bit tricky? Relationships.
Ooh, yeah, those can be complicated.
Yeah, but so important. This list recommends 2 podcasts. I Do Podcast and Do Sugars.
Okay, tell me about them.
So I Do Podcast. It's hosted by a husband and wife team, Chase and Sarah Kosterlitz, so they bring that real-life experience to the table.
Sounds like they'd have some valuable insights.
They do. They talk about communication, conflict resolution, intimacy, parenting, you name it. They even bring in therapists and relationship experts for additional advice.
Oh, wow, so it's like a well-rounded approach.
It is. Now, if you want something a little more no holds barred, there's Dear Sugars with Cheryl Strayed and Steve Almond. They're known for their very honest and compassionate approach to relationships. No topic is off limits.
Oh, wow. So they really dive into the messy stuff.
We do. They tackle everything from communication and trust to infidelity and family issues. It's pretty eye-opening.
Sounds like a good one for anyone needing some tough love advice.
It is. Okay, let's shift gears again and talk about careers. I mean, we spend so much time at work, it's got to be something that motivates us, right?
Totally. Whether we love our job or are looking for something new, I think we can all use some career inspiration.
Absolutely. And this list has 2 podcasts that can help with that. First up, we have Pivot with Jenny Blake, which is perfect for anyone feeling, stuck or uninspired in their current career.
Ah, the dreaded career rut. We've all been there.
Right. Well, Jenny Blake, she's a former Google career coach, so she knows what she's talking about.
Okay, so she's got the credentials.
She does. She helps listeners identify their strengths, navigate those tricky career transitions, and ultimately create a career they actually love.
Sounds like she's got a good roadmap for career change.
She does. And then for all the freelancers and entrepreneurs out there, Being Boss is a must listen. Hosted by Emily Thompson and Kathleen Shannon, they've got tons of advice on building a successful business.
Oh, cool. So like the business side of things.
Yeah, they cover marketing, finances, mindset, productivity, all that stuff. And while it's geared towards entrepreneurs, their advice can really apply to anyone who wants to feel more, in control of their work life.
That makes sense. I mean, we all want to feel like we're the boss of our own lives, right?
Exactly. All right, let's talk about another important aspect of well-being, financial success.
Money matters. Sometimes it feels like a taboo topic, though, like we're not supposed to talk about it.
Right. It can be intimidating, but these podcasts break it down and make it more approachable. So first up, we have The Stacking Benjamins with Joe Salce. He's all about making personal finance fun and relatable.
Fun and finance. Those two words don't usually go together.
I know, right? But he pulls it off. He's got this great sense of humor, and he explains things in plain English.
Okay, that's a good start. What kind of topics does he cover?
Oh, everything. Budgeting, saving, investing, retirement planning, you name it. And he interviews other financial experts too, which is cool.
Nice. A variety of perspectives is always helpful. What about the other podcast you mentioned?
Planet Money by NPR. That one's great for anyone who wants to, like, really dive deep into the world of economics. They explain complex concepts in a way that's actually engaging and easy to understand.
Economics.
Yeah.
I've always found that subject to be a bit dry.
I get it. But they use storytelling and real-life examples, which makes it way more interesting.
Maybe they can change my mind about economics.
Maybe. All right, we're in the home stretch now. Our last category is all about productivity and forming new habits. And this is a big one, so we've got a few to share.
Okay, I'm ready to get organized and productive.
So first up, we have The Brendan Show, hosted by Brendan Burchard. He's all about helping people live a more charged life.
Charged. What does that mean exactly?
Like full of energy, purpose, and, productivity. He's a high-energy guy, very motivating. He gives great advice on setting goals, overcoming procrastination, developing a strong work ethic.
Sounds like a good one for anyone feeling a bit sluggish.
Totally. Then there's the Tim Ferriss Show.
Oh, I've heard of him. He wrote the 4-Hour Workweek, right?
That's him. He's all about productivity and optimizing life. And his podcast, it's like a treasure trove of wisdom and inspiration. He interviews all sorts of people, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, scientists, you name it. And he always digs deep to uncover their secrets to success.
So it's like getting a sneak peek into the minds of successful people.
Yeah. You learn about their routines, habits, mindsets. It's really fascinating.
Sounds like a great way to learn from the best.
It is. Now, if you're looking for a more focused approach to forming new habits, there's The Habit Coach with Afton Doctor. He helps people create small, sustainable changes that lead to big results over time.
I like the sound of that. Small changes, big results.
Right. And his episodes are short and sweet, usually under 10 minutes, perfect for busy people.
Oh, that's perfect for me. I can squeeze that in anywhere. What's the last one?
The last one is Tiny Leaps, Big Changes, hosted by Greg Clunas. He's all about consistency and how small actions done over time can create incredible change.
That's a powerful message. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the thought of making big changes, but it's really the small, consistent steps that matter.
Exactly. He talks about setting realistic goals, breaking down tasks, and building that momentum through action.
Yeah.
He also emphasizes self-compassion, which I think is so important.
Yeah, we can be so hard on ourselves. It's good to remember to celebrate the small wins along the way.
Absolutely. Phew, that was a lot of podcasts.
It was. And we're not even done yet.
Nope. We've got even more motivational goodness coming your way in a part 2 of our deep dive. So stay tuned.
Welcome back. So many fascinating podcasts to unpack. I'm ready to dive in.
Me too. It's funny. I keep thinking back to The Science of Success and that FBI hostage negotiator they had on.
Right. That was unexpected.
It really was. So Matt Bodnar, the host, he's all about using science, like real research and stuff, to help us achieve success in like all areas of life.
So it's not just about, getting rich or climbing the corporate ladder?
No, not at all. It's about understanding like how our minds work and using that knowledge to our advantage.
Yeah.
He talks about things like cognitive biases, those mental shortcuts our brains take that can sometimes lead us astray.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Like confirmation bias, where we only see information that supports our existing beliefs.
Exactly. And he also dives into decision-making frameworks and even the neuroscience of happiness. It's really fascinating stuff.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it's cool how he connects these seemingly unrelated fields like neuroscience and personal development.
Right. It's like he's showing us that success isn't just about luck or talent, but about understanding the science behind how our brains work.
And the fact that he has such a diverse range of guests,
Right.
from hostage negotiators to mindfulness experts, shows that he's really trying to explore all these different facets of success.
Absolutely. It's not just one narrow definition. Now, you mentioned earlier that the School of Greatness with Lewis Howes has a totally different vibe. It's much more personal and story-driven.
It is. It's like you're sitting down with a with a wise friend who's always got your back.
Lewis is very open about his own struggles and failures, which, makes him super relatable.
And he doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. He really gets into it with his guests.
And I love how he interviews such a diverse range of people, like athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, activists. It's like he's saying, hey, success can look like so many different
Right.
things.
There's no one right path.
Exactly. Now, we talked a bit about the maintenance phase earlier. I'm curious to hear more about what makes them stand out to you.
Well, I'm always a bit skeptical of health and wellness trends.
Oh, me too, me too. It's like, how do you know what to believe?
Exactly. And that's what I appreciate about the maintenance phase. They don't just accept things at face value. They dig deep and challenge those assumptions.
They're like the mythbusters of the wellness world.
Yeah. They tackle topics like detox, teas, fad diets, all those things that sound too good to be true.
And they do it with humor, which makes it even better.
It's like they're giving you permission to question everything you hear and to think critically about the information you're consuming.
Right. It's about empowering yourself to make informed decisions. Okay, let's talk about happiness. We touched on the Happier podcast, the Good Life Project, and the Happiness Lab earlier. Each one seems to have a slightly different take on finding joy.
It's interesting how the Happier podcast with Gretchen Rubin really zeroes in on the power of daily habits. Like those small things we do every day.
It's a good reminder that happiness isn't some big, grand achievement, but rather a series of small choices we make each day.
And she offers such practical advice. Like she talks about creating routines, establishing rituals, even just making your bed in the morning.
Those little things can really add up.
They can. And it's
Yeah.
not about following some rigid formula, but about figuring out what works for you.
Now, the Good Life Project with Jonathan Fields, it seems to be more about finding meaning and purpose, like what really matters in life.
Yeah, those big questions. And he's such a gifted interviewer. He creates this safe space for his guests to really open up and share their stories.
It's like you're eavesdropping on a really deep and meaningful conversation.
And his guests are so diverse, from celebrities and thought leaders to everyday people who are doing amazing things.
It's inspiring to hear how they define the good life and what brings them joy.
It's a reminder that happiness isn't a destination, but a journey.
Absolutely. Now, the Happiness Lab with Dr. Laurie Santos, I mean, the fact that it's based on her insanely popular Yale course, that really says
It's
something.
like a seal of approval.
Right. And it's not just, feel-good fluff.
Yeah.
It's backed by science and research.
She breaks down how our minds work,
Huh.
Why we think the way we do, and what truly makes us happy.
And she does it in a way that's engaging and even funny.
It's not preachy at all. Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about fitness. We mentioned Ollie on the Run and Hurdle earlier. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, I love how Ollie on the Run isn't just about, running tips and techniques.
You need some more than that.
Yeah, Ollie Feller, she's the host. She really gets into the mental and emotional side of running.
She's very open about her own journey.
She is. She talks about her struggles with motivation, injuries, all those things that runners face.
And it makes her relatable. Like she's not some superhuman runner who never struggles.
Exactly. And she interviews other runners, which is always inspiring.
Now, what about Hurdle? What stood out to you about that one?
I love how it focuses on how fitness can help us overcome challenges, not just physical challenges, but life challenges.
Yeah, those hurdles we all face.
Exactly. Host Emily Abate, she interviews people who've used fitness to cope with stress, to overcome adversity, to achieve personal growth. It's really powerful.
It's a reminder that movement can be so much more than just, exercise.
Right. It's about taking care of our whole selves. Welcome back. I don't know about you, but after those fitness stories, I'm feeling ready to tackle any challenge.
Me too. It's amazing how movement can be so empowering. Like, it's not just about physical strength. It's about building that resilience we need to face, well, anything, really.
Exactly. Okay, so remember those podcasts about, keeping your house clean and organized, A Slob Comes Clean, and Clutter-Free Academy? I never thought I'd find those so motivating.
Right. It's funny how, tidying up can actually have a ripple effect on your whole life.
A Slob Comes Clean with Dana K. White. She's, the queen of practical solutions for people who, aren't exactly naturally tidy.
She makes it feel less overwhelming, like she's not expecting perfection.
Exactly. It's about making progress, not stressing about having a perfectly spotless house all the time.
One of my favorite tips from her is the 5-minute pickup. You just set a timer for 5 minutes and tidy up as much as you can in that time. It's amazing how much you can get done.
It's such a good idea. And then there's Clutter-Free Academy with Kathy Lip. She takes more of a, like, big picture approach, you know?
Yeah, it's not just about getting rid of stuff, but about creating space for what truly matters.
Exactly. Like decluttering your home, your schedule, your mind, everything. Okay, now for a topic that's always a bit tricky. Relationships.
Oh, yeah, those can be complicated, but, also so rewarding.
Absolutely. We talked about I Do Podcasts and Dear Sugars earlier. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, I do podcasts with Chase and Sarah Kusterlitz. I like that it's hosted by a real couple.
That gives it that, like, insider perspective.
Exactly. And they don't shy away from the real challenges of marriage.
They cover everything from communication and conflict to, like, intimacy and parenting.
And they bring in experts, too, which is helpful.
Now, Dear Sugars, that's a whole other vibe. Cheryl Strayed and Steve Almond, they're known for their, like, very honest and raw advice.
They don't sugarcoat anything.
Nope. They tackle all sorts of relationship dilemmas. No topic is off limits. Okay, let's shift gears to the world of work. We spend so much time at work, it's got to be something we at least somewhat enjoy, right?
Right. And even if we love our jobs, there's always room for growth and inspiration.
Absolutely. We talked about Pivot with Jenny Blake and Being Boss earlier. What resonated with you about those?
Well, I think Pivot with Jenny Blake is a great resource for anyone who's feeling a bit lost or uninspired in their career.
He's like the ultimate career coach.
She is. And she's got all this experience from her time at Google. So, she knows what she's talking about.
And then Being Boss, I love their energy and enthusiasm. They make running a business feel exciting and achievable.
And they emphasize the importance of mindset and building a strong support system.
Which is so important no matter what you do.
Absolutely. Okay, let's not forget about financial success. It's such a crucial part of well-being.
It is, but it can also be a source of stress for a lot of people.
For sure. But these podcasts, the Stacking Benjamins and Planet Money, they make it feel less intimidating.
Joe Salce, the host of Stacking Benjamins, he's got this great way of making personal finance fun and relatable.
He really does. And Planet Money, they do an amazing job of explaining complex economic concepts in a way that's actually interesting.
It's like suddenly economics makes sense.
Right. Who knew? All right, ready for our final category.
Well,
productivity and forming new habits.
Bring it on. I'm always looking for ways to, like, get more done and be more efficient.
Me too. And these podcasts offer a lot of great tips and strategies.
So first up, we have The Brendan Show with Brendan Burchard. He's like this powerhouse of energy and motivation.
He really is. He's all about helping people live a more charged life, full of purpose and productivity.
Exactly. And then there's The Tim Ferriss Show. He's like the king of productivity hacks and life optimization.
And he's always experimenting and trying new things, which is inspiring.
And he interviews such a fascinating people from all walks of life. You can't help but learn something new from each episode.
Now, if you're looking for a more structured approach to habit formation, The Habit Coach with Ashton Doctor is a great option.
He breaks it down into these small, manageable steps, which I appreciate.
It's a good reminder that you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just focus on those small, consistent actions.
And finally, we have Tiny Leaps, Big Changes with Greg Clunis. He's all about the power of consistency and how, like, those small changes can lead to big results.
He emphasizes the importance of celebrating your progress along the way, which is so important.
It is. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. It's amazing to see how many incredible podcasts are out there to support our growth and well, just help us live better lives.
I know, right? It's like we've given our listeners a roadmap to a world of inspiration and practical advice.
So what does this all mean for you, our dear listeners? It means you have an abundance of resources at your fingertips to help you learn, grow, and achieve your goals.
Take some time to reflect on what resonated with you the most. Which podcasts sparked your interest? What areas of your life are you feeling most motivated to work on?
Choose a few podcasts that speak to you and add them to your playlist. Remember, personal growth is a journey, not a destination.
It's about continuously learning, experimenting, and evolving.
And with the right tools and support, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Happy listening.